Hunting down incel extremists. Oh, that's interesting.
Online, you can be anyone.
Oh, that's interesting, because it's kind of about you guys.
Neo-Nazi, but I can also be a jihadist, and I can even be a man who's part of the incels movement.
Most of the world...
Guys, we're gonna take a deeper look into the non-subbery that's going on here.
It was introduced to incels when Elliot Rodger killed 6 people at UC Santa Barbara.
Okay, this got serious quick. Holy shit.
Police didn't have to search long to learn what motivated a 22-year-old gunman to kill 6 people and injure 7 others.
Incel stands for involuntary celibates, and it was originally a forum on Reddit that was basically set up for people who couldn't find a romantic or sexual partner. The Toronto van attacker posted a reference to Elliot Rodger online.
He wasn't part of a terrorist group, but it may not be as simple as suggesting he was
Dude, it's 24? It looks like 40! What the fuck?
I think it's extremely scary that literally anyone could get caught up in an extremist movement, could get radicalized and exploited by extremist recruiters.
Asshole.
I'm Julia Ebner, and I'm a researcher looking at far-right radicalization and terrorism. Part of my research is undercover within those groups, and I do these investigations partly because I want to understand better how they operate, because that's how you inform prevention and intervention programs, but also partly because I then work with security services to intercept their communication or to prevent terrorist attacks from happening if I do see something being plotted.
But is she like a free journalist?
Started
Shouldn't the people that prevent terrorism be like in the government?
Looking into jihadist terrorism when ISIS was at the height of its power, but then I saw that there was a strong backlash from the far-right side of the spectrum, so I looked deeper into the far-right's online subcultures and saw...
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a things don't add up ever, and it's pretty freaking obvious theorist. You fucking retard.
They were really gaining traction, especially among young people.
When you
and
tap
I wanted
on the
to
fish
get
tank.
insights, really first-hand insights, and understand what was driving them. When I was younger, I always wanted to become an actress, and I did a few acting trainings. So I guess that was then helpful for being just really just an amateur in pretending to be someone I'm not. But it helped me to for example, to fool neo-Nazi groups or also jihadist groups into thinking that...
Dude, that gun looked straight up like a toy gun, didn't it?
For example, to fool neo-Nazi groups or also...
Look at that gun! Is that a real gun? It's even bending, bro. That looks like a toy I used to have.
Jihadist groups into thinking that I could be one of them. For my research, I went undercover on the one hand with ISIS hacker groups, but also with American neo-Nazis, with German far-right extremists, identitarians and white nationalists, also with misogynist groups, and with conspiracy theory groups such as QAnon. A lot of people wouldn't really make the connection that actually neo-Nazis and far-right extremists are very similar to jihadists in the ways they operate, also in the ways they think, but especially in the ways they use new technologies. I've been interested in the rise of anti-feminism for quite some time, and especially when it manifests...
The rise of anti-feminism, you will think it's always been around. Why hating women makes sense. And then he has a fucking Pepper with a gun, man. These are the weirdest people, man. The weirdest fucking people.
In targeted hatred against women or against...
The Riddler! I'm the Riddler, man! They always have these edgy fucking profile pictures. Mostly the Joker. I'm so anti-society. I'm so more intelligent than everyone else. You're just fucking mentally ill, bro.
Especially against feminists. The manosphere is a loose network of different online subcultures that are all misogynist and united in their anti-feminism. Incels is one of the most radical and potentially violent groups or networks within the bigger manosphere. Incels was originally a forum on Reddit that was basically set up for people who couldn't find a romantic or sexual partner and who were lonely. There was a positive goal behind incels in the beginning, but it has been hijacked over the years by deeply misogynist and anti-feminist activists who've turned it into one of the most hateful places you can find on the internet.
When not getting girls makes you a threat to society. Exactly, man. Exactly.
You don't believe anymore in being able to find a romantic...
I want to blackpill people and spread the black pill in Iran, but at the same time, lonely old men. Alter Schwede, ey.
Or sexual partner.
That's the problem with this shit. Thank you.
You don't believe that it's possible to change your behavior in order to find a girl. They believe that actually it's only the really good-looking guys, they call them chats, who are able to find women. So attractive men are called Chads and attractive women are called Stacys in the incels vocabulary.
I've never heard that before.
In 2014, Elliot Rodger was, I would say, the first big case of an incels sympathizer who went on to commit an act of terror.
The nearly 10-minute rampage ended with a final gun battle with sheriff's deputies. In the end, Rodger and 6 others were killed.
He became the hero for the whole incels subculture. So he's still cited, his manifesto is still quoted by new perpetrators of the incels movement.
He posted a 141-page manifesto.
Jesus, these people are so fucking mentally ill, man. Part 1, A Blissful Beginning, age 0 to 5. They're also very narcissistic, man. Anders Breivik and all these, that Christchurch shooter, they're so narcissistic. They're so ego-driven, man. They think it's all about them and how important their story is and stuff. And this is kind of, you know, sometimes you saw this in the HOI4 community, like the first beginnings of that. You guys remember, I'm not saying Sean is gonna fucking kill people, but you guys remember when Sean wrote this letter where he apologized for hacking, and it was like, my life and how I think the HOI4 community also has or had some members that are going down this path. Not on that extreme, but in my 4 years in HOI4, man, there's some people, man, that I've met in these Discords that are legit a weak version of this mental illness here, man, which is dangerous, man, dangerous.
Manifesto, mostly blaming women for not having sex with him.
He also published a video in which he said that he hates all women, that he wants to take revenge on women for not having sex.
Then why do you shoot up a gas station?
One example
like,
of
what?
such an inspirational attack is the Toronto van attacker, who in 2018 went on to commit a van attack against pedestrians, and he also posted a reference to Elliot Rodger online.
Dude, just shoot him, don't even fucking...
And most...
The officers will just get it done, right? To do this. Holy crap, man, just get him.
Of course, had the Plymouth shooting in the UK, where the
gunman kills 5 in UK, worst measuring in 11 years. I mean, look at them. These people have just big brain damage issues, man. Jake Davidson, 22, killed 2 women, 2 men, and a young girl in a 6-minute shooting spree before turning the gun on himself. Big problem in our society, man. It's mostly young men. That is just a fact. It's young men that do that stuff. You see it in jihadism. It's these young men that do terrorist attack. You see it with white young men that are like doing Nazi stuff, stuff like this. It's these young men that are just really far gone, man. Very far gone.
Perpetrator was also inspired by the incels movement.
How do you fucking help them, you know?
My job is to do research.
I feel like with 7 billion people on the planet, you're gonna always have these mentally ill motherfuckers. They don't believe in it, blah,
various
blah, blah.
different extremist movements on different sides of the ideological spectrum. But as part of this, I often go undercover to expose some of their communication.
Maybe society is the problem? I will disagree with that. If 99% of a society actually acts normal and 1% goes a bit mentally ill and goes around killing people, does that mean the society is fucked? Most of us, we all have problems. We all have our little baggage to go, but you and me, we're not going out fucking killing people.
Tactics or their recruitment tactics, and to then also inform the wider public, but also the security services or international organizations on how to approach these topics. For my undercover investigations, I usually have different steps that I follow. Step 1 is to understand what my goal is, what do I want to get out of this. Step 2 is to develop a profile, a credible profile across different social media outlets. That means often spending months to really develop that profile, to make it credible. I sometimes think about my own character or that fake character almost like I would think about the character in a novel. But it also means that you have to invest a lot of time into actually running these different accounts, turning them into something that could be an actual person's account. They want to have several proofs that your Twitter profile isn't just a fake.
Is climate change made up? I'm a woman, I'm helping this younger guy who's an incel and angry at women. How much would you pay for a hug? Posted by Subhuman. Where are the parents, man? Jesus.
That you have profiles on all of their alternative media, social media outlets. Like there's an alt-right equivalent for Twitter, for YouTube, for Facebook, that I would have to have accounts on all of these simultaneously and run them for several months in order to be credible.
The parents are probably worse.
And then some of the groups have very rigorous vetting procedures. So for example, when I joined
Oh, that looks like HOI4. His name is Aldrich. He has one of the SS black and white World War II picture, man. This feels very, very Hearts of Ironish, man. To be vetted, send a hand or wrist photograph with a piece of paper reading MATR, your username, timestamp, or with this vetting shell in the background, and answer these questions. What is your entire ancestral background that you are aware of? In what country were you born? And where are you currently? How old are you? Are you man or woman? How would you describe your political views? Are you a homosexual? Any other type of sexual deviant? Oh my god. What are your religious or spiritual views? Do you even lift for grills? Do you even work out? You know, the point is we laugh about these people. Again, people like this have been in the HOI4 community, man. You laugh about them, but as you get older, you realize these people are legit a fucking threat, man.
a neo-Nazi group in the US.
I don't know.
I had to actually submit the
Average
test
Discord
results
server
of a
vetting
genetic
rules.
test to prove that I'm white or to prove that I have no foreign background. Step 3 is to learn the language of the community. And it's important to almost learn that language before reaching out.
I'm alone in this crown world. Rage fuel. Curry whore prefers big black cock to curry suitors. Jesus. And stuff like this is, you know, why I have this weird 4 Germanys. Look, I'm all about free speech, freedom, blah, 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 blah. But I sometimes raise the question on the stream if it would not be a bad idea to regulate the internet a bit more. It's a thought. I know we're all about, we want free speech and stuff, but does free speech have to accept stuff like this? It's very difficult, yeah. But like having a bureau, a government bureau that works on this stuff and like bans the websites maybe if they're found guilty of being anti-constitutional or something.
Recruiters or to other members, because otherwise they would already be suspicious.
Because one thing is crystal clear, the internet is radicalizing people all everywhere, man. The last 20 years, man, the internet has done a lot of harm. Like, especially social media. There's the fucking Joker picture, man. These fucking complete Muppets, man. Oh, these people, man. You almost feel bad for them.
Because they can immediately identify you as an outcomer. An example would be the incels movement, where you have a whole list of terms that they use that you wouldn't know as an outsider. You wouldn't know what a Chad or a Stacy is, or what the derogatory terms are that they use to describe women, or that you have to be black-pilled in order to be part of that community.
I never heard of black-pilled before.
And step 4
Why is
to reach out to other members. And step 5 is to really get deeper insights and to gather information from the inside. One of the key findings from my time within incels was...
Always seems like her investigation should be worth a 40-minute video, but they always just make it 10 minutes. The video's almost over, and she didn't even tell us about the results yet.
That they're all deeply vulnerable individuals, and they've all had a past of either traumatizing experiences or of...
I always tell you this, you don't need to be genius to notice. It's the loser principle, man. Deep inside, when you are like a weirdo in society, a jihadist, a neo-Nazi, a hardcore communist, whatever, deep inside your soul, there's always something going on. Some trauma, some I don't know, maybe even some mental issues, you know, maybe some genetical brain stuff. There's always something behind that.
Just really a lot of sad experiences that happened during their youth or during their childhood even. All of the incels that I spoke to or that I had conversations with had an extremely low self-esteem. So they also talk a lot about how to maximize their looks. It's called looks maxing. There's a whole forum on that where you can do different types of surgeries. They have this ideal picture of what a man should look like in order to be successful. And some of them also no longer believe in any of these looks maxing strategies. So they've given up all hope, and what you in incels language would call they lay down and rot. They've basically decided that their life is no longer of any value, and then they resort to either committing suicide or they resort to planning acts of violence against women to take revenge on people they blame for their lack of sexual experiences or for their inability to find a romantic partner. I do think it's possible to de-radicalize them, but in order to inform good de-radicalization strategies or intervention strategies, we need to have really good knowledge of how these communities operate and what's driving the members. So I think there is value in going undercover with them. The other part of the story is, of course, intercepting their communication if there is an attack that's being plotted or if there is an announcement of violence, and then forwarding it to the security services or forwarding it to the tech platforms that shut down their accounts. And I do think that's really important, and that's also what keeps me motivated in this job, that I think you can have an impact, however small it is, especially in doing investigative research in this area.
But is there like a follow-up? I never understand this.